Hi, Kieran Powell. Thank you so much for coming and joining me on the Mary-Jess Meets podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I've been so looking forward to this podcast because you and I go quite a way back. And it's just a really
I
good
don't know if you
excuse
realise
to catch
quite
up.
how far back.
No, it's a bit
Do
worrying.
you know how long it's been?
No.
It's,
I could guess.
Go on, hazard a guess. How long do you think it's been?
Well, I want to say 2003 or 4.
Oh, I wasn't going to go that far back.
Really, I think it was probably 2004, because I think, no, hang on. I'm thinking now, because I'm thinking about when I first went to the Door Youth Project in Stroud, to that wonderful charity, because that is where we met.
Yeah, no, but
I think that's when I first
you
went
were there
there.
a little bit before I was.
Okay, because I was in their Undiscovered Youth Talent competition. Do you remember that? In 2007 and 2008.
So I think it was 2008 or 2009. I think 2009.
Yeah, because
I think I was 12, which makes it 12 years ago.
Right.
So
I'm
I think
not sure,
it's 2008.
I just feel like I've known you forever anyway.
But then equally, like when you're a teenager, that's when you start really remembering life. So I think like that point onwards, that's forever pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah. The teenage years is just a whole block of time that's lumped into one. There.
Honestly, it really is. I don't really have any separation between when I was about 13 and 18. It's all just like, that was just about 10 minutes that just happened in my life.
10 minutes, yeah, exactly.
It just is so quick. And I think also because I was performing the whole time I was a teenager, it made it feel even quicker, because every time I wasn't at school, I was performing and I was always busy and hit. I know we're jumping ahead of all of this, but yeah, I don't really remember being a teenager much at all.
It does fly by when you look past, and it's quite scary. Trying to think about when we first met each other, I'm like, giddy aunt, how long ago was that? But then at the same time, does feel like I've known you for such a long time. And because I feel like whenever we chat, it's just like going back to where we were when we first last chatted, and just speak so easily when I can get my words out.
That's kind of the way you've got to be though when you're in the entertainment industry, isn't it? Because you so rarely get to actually see people on a regular basis that
especially with you. Like before all this COVID stuff was before all this COVID stuff was happening, because you had more cruises than me. You were like off to Australia like all the time and so many other places, and like cruises was just such a great
averaged about
well.
40 a year between February and October, middle of October normally.
40 a year, but in between those dates? Yeah,
so within about 9 months. Yeah, because I did Panto November, December, January, and then took like the end of January off. And then always had a couple of weeks off before I start rehearsal at the start of November. So yeah, between February and October, I would do about 40 odd. I've been to 118 countries now.
That's incredible.
So I've been a bit busy.
Yeah, just a little bit. Well, you're in demand because you're amazing, obviously. What's your shortest contract been then?
Say again?
Your shortest contract, because my shortest contract ever was 48 hours. I got on the ship, I did my show, and I left. It was like...
So you did one night?
Yeah.
The shortest I've done was 2 nights. I've never done 1 night.
Yeah, it was really quick.
Oh, no, I unintentionally did a 1 night. I was meant to be on there for 2, but because of some adverse weather coming up in the Azores or something, we were meant to do a 2-night crossing from one part of the Azores to the other or something.
Okay.
They decided to, instead of doing an overnight or something, I can't really remember, it was a while ago, but then they were basically going to be at sea the day that I was meant to be leaving, and I was meant to be going straight to another ship. So I ended up getting off. So I did the same thing. I joined, did my show that night, and then got off. Equally though, I was once on a ship for 15 nights, and I performed on the 14th night. I did nothing for 2 weeks. Not a thing. It was amazing though, because as lovely as it is and people recognise you, want to chat to you, I had 2 weeks of nobody having a clue who I was, and it was great. I really didn't fit in because I was 19 and it was a small, older ship. And so everyone was like, he's clearly not one of us. And it was on a world cruise as well. So, but yeah, no, I've done both ends of the spectrum. I've done all of that, yeah.
That's so funny. I was on a ship with John Udry, who I know you did his Variety Bungalow because I watched it. And it was amazing.
Just last week.
It was so fantastic. And yeah, he was in the same boat as you. Ha! There's going to be more of that today, I'm sure. But yeah, he got so bored, he started doing his taxes.
Brilliant. That's the level, isn't it? When you're so bored, you actively choose to do your tax return before. I don't know about you, but I think you're a bit more organised in life than I am. But I'm literally like, oh my God, it's the 22nd of January. I really should do this now. Like I leave until the absolute last minute. My accountant hates me for it. But yeah, I'm so bored, and it's not even due that soon. And fair play, John. Well done, you.
He was doing well there, to be honest.
I bet he'll feel smug the January after that, though, won't he? And he's like, you're all worrying. Yeah, I did mine in February last year.
Yeah, he's all sorted. He's done it. He's fine. But I loved that cruise, though, because I'm still in that phase of cruising. Like, I know you and John have done a gazillion of them, but I'm still in that phase of like, this is brilliant, and like completely love it. So I was making the most of my time on board, and then when we do have sea days, I've got so many things that I can get on with, so I'm quite happy occupying myself. But I know there's quite a few guest ends who go, oh, not another sea day.
I mean, I never was that bothered by sea days. Yeah, I did 1 year where I brought 6 different ships across the Atlantic in a row. So it was all princess. I brought 6. Yeah, I brought 6 princess ships. So I flew from the UK to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, whatever, sail all the way across to wherever the first point of land is, fly home for a day, then fly straight back. So for 2 months in a row, I was flying to Miami, 7 sea days, fly to Miami, 7 sea days. Solidly for 2 months.
That must have seriously mucked up your body clock.
I mean, I'm pretty adamant that I, for a long time, didn't have a body clock. I do now, thanks to COVID. I've actually sleep properly, almost, sort of. But yeah, I was that guy that, okay, it's time to sleep now. I will go to sleep. I'll sleep for 8 hours, then I'll wake up no matter what time zone I'm in. And if I've been awake for like 3 days, as sometimes you have to get to the most ridiculous place in the world, I would still then go to sleep for 8 hours, and then wake up. Doesn't matter how tired I am. I just 8 hours is done. Right, I'm awake now. Let's get on with the day.
Wow, that is a skill. Gosh, I sleep for 9 hours.
On a plane, I can sleep. Do you know what? I don't know if you'll hate me for this. I don't know if you can
I might do.
I can actually often sleep better on a plane than I do in my own bed.
Yeah. I don't like you anymore. Yeah. No, that's mental though. That's completely crazy.
I remember finishing Panto a few years ago. It was nuts. Like I finished Panto on the Saturday or Sunday, regardless, whatever day it was. A day later, I had 1 day of doing nothing, but that day ended up being a day of packing. Then I was flying straight to Buenos Aires to join a ship. And the flight from London to Buenos Aires is 14 and a half hours. I was so exhausted from Panto. This is the one exception of me sleeping for more than 8 hours. Okay, there's more than that, but this is a good example of. I sat down on the plane. I nodded off before we'd taken off. Seat fully upright, no getting comfy, glasses on, watch on, like fully upright, just kind of nodded off. And then I woke up thinking, oh, right, we're in the air. I must have missed takeoff. That's fine. I wonder if I missed dinner or breakfast or whatever the first meal was. Tap the screen, see how long is left of the flight. There's 20 minutes left till landing. So I'd slept for over 14 hours without even thinking about it. I was fully upright. My neck was killing me. But yeah, I was fully upright for 14 hours sleeping. So I was that exhausted from doing Panto. But yeah, I sleep really well on the plane.
I'm not normally on the plane. It's my neck that wakes me up because I'm there going, that is hurting now.
Yeah,
that's what wakes me up.
Do you know? I found this is top tip, right? Neck pillows, terrible. Don't ever get a neck pillow. Awful things. What? No, that's not a natural position for your neck, is it?
No.
However, there's a cracking one. In fact, you know what? It's in here.
Oh, right? I'm excited. I want to see it.
I was just tidying some bits up. And I was like, oh, haven't seen that in a while. Right. This neck pillow.
Ooh.
Right.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a job on JBC. here's the neck pillow, which you've all been waiting for. How exciting is this neck pillow? If this does turn into an audio podcast, this is going to be weird. How exciting this neck pillow is. Right, so looks like, Kieran, how is that going to help anyone sleep? This one has broken because it's been rather used. That normally has a popper on so it can all roll up on against stuff. Now, there's these pull tie things here. So you put that around the headrest and then you can pull it tight so it sits here, and then think about like reclining slightly, you get an actual pillow to lean on. So instead of it being like...
that's horrendous.
You get a nice little...
That looks all right. Looks like you could nod off in the middle of a podcast, dear Kieran.
I just looked at myself on the camera. It actually doesn't look that comfy, but I promise you it's really quite all right. And also this bit you can then like tie back on itself, so if you put that around the seatbelt, it's not going to go anywhere either. It's just there for you.
Oh, that's a good idea. It's kind of like a little
If you've been away for a long time, you're feeling lonely,
Yeah. That is brilliant. Okay, so when COVID finally...
Sorry, that got a bit weird, didn't it?
Away. When COVID finally goes away, I'll have to get one of those ready for when I next go on an airplane.
Yeah,
that's something absolutely. I can look forward to buying, knowing that I'm going to be going to work. That's going to be quite nice.
Perfect.
But I feel like we should actually talk about what you do on cruise ships and in pantos. That would be good.
Past all of that.
So you are actually one of the most incredible entertainers I have ever seen. You are a ventriloquist, and I know that I went to the recording of your DVD, and I have never laughed so much in my entire life.
There's honestly, a lot of shots of you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of audience reaction shots of you and your mum laughing. Very good.
I couldn't help it. My tummy muscles were hurting as well.
See, even that feels like so long ago now. That was 4 years ago.
Was it? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow, that was amazing though. That was one of the best nights out I've ever had. I was so blown away by you because you are just so clever and so talented, and you sing better with your mouth shut than most people do with it open. I don't know how you do it.
Very kind of you. I do sing of some sorts, yes.
Of some sorts. You're so modest. No, you're amazing. But can we start from the very beginning with all of this? Like, it's a bit of a unique talent to practice at and to find. So I was wondering how you came across it and what made you think that is the thing for me.
I had no friends, so I started talking to myself. And then that's always what I say, but it's obviously not true. And not obviously, let's be honest, I now have a career playing with puppets. Not obviously not true, but it is not true. I saw a video when I was 11 of a guy called Jeff Dunham on YouTube. It's kind of like was one of the first big viral videos back forever ago, 2007, whatever it was. And it's just him with his doll Ahmed the Dead Terrorist, and it was kind of, I think, 4 years after 9/11, and it was kind of just at the point where America started realizing they needed to laugh at it again or find like some joy in what happened. Not that you can find joy in that, but you know, like find a way of I'm digging myself a hole here, aren't I? Find a way of coping
with it.
Yes. How much are you planning on cutting out of this? Because it's going to have to be a lot of this, right?
I actually try not to edit them at all, so just try not to dig yourself any holes.
Okay, well, I'll start filling the hole in. So he created this character, and it went viral, right? That's all you need to know. The rest of the details that I tried to give you then were totally irrelevant. Don't know why I even bothered. So, yeah, I saw that, and it's very inappropriate. 11-year-olds should never watch it, but I did. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what ventriloquism was. And then I just started Googling it as I did because I'm born in 95. That's what people of that age. I was about to say I'm a millennial, but I'm not a millennial. I'm like the cross between millennial and is it X? Y? Whatever.
I lose track.
I'm 24, whatever, right. And so... yeah, I Googled it and discovered it was called ventriloquism, and then started searching other ventriloquists, and I just was like, yeah, this is it. I wanted to be a magician when I was 5, but something didn't quite feel right. I know, right? I did these magic shows when I was at school. Oh, hang on, there's a cracking photo of me at a young age, for all of you listening to this as an audio-only podcast, you're welcome. This is me. let's get that right in on the camera. That's me when I was 6, when I decided that magic isn't enough, so let's be a clown as well. So I was Kieran Powell, or Mr. Magic Man, the Magic Clown, when I was 7 or so years old. And so
I want to say that's really cute, but clowns are also a little bit scary.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it is a bit creepy.
But that is cute.
So, yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to do back then. But I think now my 11-year-old ego was like, well, with magic, all they do is they react to the trick, not the person. I want that reaction. So then I was like, oh, with ventriloquism, they're reacting solely to me. And so, yeah, I apparently had quite an ego at 11 years old. So that I just was like, this is what I think I should do. And I just started teaching myself. My first big gig was at the Door Youth Project, which is what we mentioned just before.
Yay!
And it all kind of went from there. Like the fact that the talent competition is called the Undiscovered Youth Talent Competition. I was literally all of those things. Yeah. Undiscovered, young, and had a talent. I was the definition. And do you know, I don't know if you remember, but I did it 3 years before I won. I didn't win off the bat like you did.
No, it wasn't off the bat like me. No, I did it. What did I do? The first time I did it, I did a rock song.
I thought
and I think I came second or something. And then it was the year after that. You were asking. I'm giving you the answers.
Right.
The year after that was when I finally plucked up the courage to sing classical music in public for the first time.
Right.
So that's when I sung Time to Say Goodbye, and it was Brendan Convoy and all those wonderful people at the door that encouraged me to sing classical music. So they were like, look, you obviously love it. Just because your friends don't think it's cool, you know, you should sing what you love. So that's why I sang Time to Say Goodbye.
See, that's the difference between you and I. You were wanting to make sure that your friends still think it's cool. I was like, puppets are great, magic's great, everyone like me.
But now everybody does love you.
Enough people do for me to get by in life. I'm fine with that. I've come to terms with that. You don't have to please everyone all the time. I'm okay with that.
Well, you're completely right, though. You can do the best that you possibly can do with your performances, and you're still not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
No, exactly.
Nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, no, I was beaten twice and then won the third time. It's ironic because the guy that beat me the second time, Harry, is a really good friend still. So
yeah,
I was like, well, you know, yeah, you can. And it was his birthday as well, so I always wind him up. We used to always wind him up. We did gigs together, saying that. Yeah, the reason he won is because it was his birthday. So, yeah.
No, when you mates, you take the opportunities to poke fun at each other, though, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah, you
But off the back of the first year that I did that, I got my first ever professional gig as well. So
amazing.
When I won the first year and won the audience favourite prize, I was asked if I could perform at a Rotary Club Christmas dinner. Bear in mind, for people that don't know, this competition's in January. So I was asked to do a gig that December. I was like, oh, look at me in demand, getting booked a year in advance. And then a few other things came in after that. And I did, you know, the obligatory few old folks' homes and all those lovely things that I did. Still got paid for it, but it was, I don't know about you, but when I was first asked if I could do a professional gig, I had no idea what to charge. So these kind of companies or event organisers that are very used to saying, okay, what's your fee or what do you charge or whatever? The first time I got asked that, I was like, don't know, £20? I had no clue. So this Rotary Club then went, I think we could probably budget a little bit more than that. I was like, ooh, 40? I'm like, yeah. Okay, well, let's do that. So I did the Rotary Club gig for 40 quid. Anyone from Rotary Clubs watching, unfortunately, I'm not that cheap anymore, but still get in touch.
Yeah. I love it.
But yeah, no, it was hilarious. And then you quickly realise, oh, I should probably actually charge enough to make a living from this. Right.
Or to at least cover your petrol.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, it was only about 4 minutes down the road from my parents' house, so it was all right. Like, it was one of these gigs that was so close. I went, set up, sound checked, went home for 3 hours, and then went back.
That's
I say
brilliant.
I did that. Obviously, my parents had to drive me because I was 13 years old. But yeah.
All right, then enough to cover your parents' petrol when it's a bit further away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was your first character? Because I know you've got quite a few friends that you use now, but which one was your first one?
Friends. Oh.
But that's how you introduce them.
I knew you'd pick up on that. Okay, so I'm in this weird two minds about the word friends, because I make a joke in my show about calling them friends, right? I make fun of myself for referring to them as friends, right? But when people haven't seen that part of it and you still refer to them as friends, it sounds really weird. Because I'm not like your normal, you know this, but everyone else won't. I'm not like your normal ventriloquist that's all about making sure that the character's always alive. Like, I throw the puppet on the floor 2 minutes in to remind people that it's not real. Like, I'm kind of an anti-ventriloquist in that sense, that I don't think they're real. I remind the audience they're not real. I make fun of people for laughing at stupid ventriloquist-related stuff. And like I said, I make fun of the fact. But I'd say at the start of my second cruise ship show, I'm going to introduce you to more of my characters, more of my friends tonight. They're not my real friends, they're puppets. I don't have any real friends because I talk to myself for a living. And it's a great way of sarcastically opening the show going, remember, this is ridiculous, the fact that you're getting invested in this.
But so we can't help it because you're so good at it.
The thing is that when you haven't set up the joke, it sounds like, oh, so how many friends have you got with you? Like, it sounds... So I just want to clarify, I don't think they're real. I'm not a psychopath. I'm not a lunatic. They're not real. I've got lots of friends now. But then also another amusing thing,
right.
Every single panto poster I've been on has always had Kieran Powell and friends on it. And I despise that phrase more than anything in the entire world. I hate it. Sorry, it's a touchy subject you've just picked up on.
I see, it sounds like it. Well, I like it. And I'm assuming you don't throw the robotic ones on the floor in the middle of your set, because that would be quite a thing to fix. Yes.
The animatronic ones are the reason that I don't own a house.
Yeah.
Literally, like, the two main ones that I have are a good deposit for a house.
Wow, they're so cool, though.
If Amy's watching, sorry, darling.
They're so brilliant, though.
This is news to her. She knows this. This is it. It's not like I've been keeping it from her. And now finally, ha-ha, surprise, we could have bought a house. She knows. And she reminds me of it on a daily basis, especially if we have an argument. Let's not get into that. Anyway, I had lots of puppets. My first ever one was, well, I had a puppet theatre, like as kids do. You know, the ones where, like, you put, that's the head and then that's one arm and that's the other arm, like that kind of thing, right?
A bit like a
I had those, but obviously yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you can't, I said I wasn't going to get my jeans in the shot then. I'm wearing my painting jeans today because I'm just doing lots of stuff around the house and I'm busy. Sorry, everybody. If you...
So it's arty. You're setting a new trend. It's fine.
Yeah, let's go with that, shall we?
Yeah.
But so I had this, the first puppet that I had that I could move the mouth was actually a bird puppet, which you can buy in any toy shop. It's the ones that have like the squeakers in the mouth, which loads of people have as a kid. But I just cut the squeaker out and then I was like, great, I've got a puppet in the moving mouth. They're like 15 quid or something. And I just went nuts with it. I called it Polly. I actually used it in the first time I auditioned for the Door Youth Project. I had another puppet, another couple that I used in that as well. I had a puppet called Ernie, which I still use that character in my show to this day. Yeah. I've had it remade to be a bit more of a big professional puppet. But I had that character way back when. Quite early on, I had the character Dave the Dinosaur that's kind of become the big staple and kind of brand around my show. Yeah. Again, I've since had him remade. The original puppet that I use, I haven't used in about 5 years now.
He's retired.
But yeah, so I have a few that I had early on. They all sound like cutesy kids' toys. Again, this isn't a little weird, creepy hobby. This is actually my job.
It is your job because you're so good at it. That's the point. You're constantly in demand. Like, didn't you say that when you were on the...
Don't take compliments. Oh, sorry, that was really close to the mic.
Didn't you say that the first show you did on one of your lovely cruise lines, that somebody who goes on that cruise line a lot wrote a letter to the main board saying how amazing you were and they have to get you back? Like, doesn't that just show how much people love you? Like, and the impression that you have. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, that was amazing, actually. It was the first time, it wasn't actually the first cruise I ever did. I'd done 2 kind of trial things with smaller cruise companies before that, but the first big cruise I did,
Yeah.
it was on a big ship. It was a 1,000-seat theatre. You did 3 shows a night back then because the ship had 4,600 guests and only 1,000 or 980-seat theatre or something. And it was also the first time that I'd performed to a non-British audience. So before that, I'd only ever done things in the UK, right? Or the 2 other ships I did were British cruise lines with all British passengers. So I didn't even know if the show was going to work because I'd never had Americans, Australians, Canadians, anybody see my material.
And they're so different as well, audiences from different countries. They are so terrifying.
Different. And the other thing about that cruise was, and this cruise is why to this day I always have a backup of everything, because I walk out on stage and there's a lot of music in my show, and I say, "Good evening, blah 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 blah. Please welcome my first character. His name is Ernie," and I press the button to start the music to bring the puppet out, and no music plays. And I was kind of like the awkward I was 18 years old as well. So I should point out, I'm 18 performing to 1,000 people doing my own show for 50 odd minutes. And the first time performing to non-Brits. Terrified. "Please welcome Ernie." No music. Tap it again. No music. I see on my iPad screen, which is controlling the show, it says disconnected.
Oh no.
So the rest of this is a bit of a blur, but people have told me I kind of then made a bit of a joke. Was like, oh, cracking start to my career on this cruise line, and then I pump her on stage and I'm like, okay, laptop backstage that's controlling the whole show, all the music has turned itself off.
Oh no.
Won't turn back on.
No.
So I then had to get my phone, which didn't have my show on it but had a few random backing tracks on it, and they ran a long iPod lead on stage with me, and I'm like, sorry, I'm just gonna have to do this now, and I just
God.
and I just kind of had to make it work with like play, pause, backing tracks on my iPhone. If you've never been on a cruise, they're meant to be rather high production value shows. Like the whole point of it is everything's pretty slick, and people have paid lots of money to be on that cruise, and you're not some kid with an iPod with a puppet, which is what I then look like. Traumatized. Right, so since then,
you're right with their production shows. They're like West End theatre shows. They're like a whole they're huge. Shindig.
Huge shows.
Yeah.
And like as individual artists, we're meant to keep up with that standard. So,
which is difficult when.
Don't worry, I've got an idea. No,
it's difficult when you don't have suitcases like the Mary Poppins one. You know, if they actually existed and you could carry a whole set to your ship with you.
I've got my name in lights. I'd take around with me if I could, but I can't. Thankfully, though, most cruise ships have an LED wall and all these fancy things that I utilise a lot now.
Oh, they do, yeah.
But yeah, like it was a very stressful show. But then, so we had, basically that show was like 25 minutes or something of just struggling through. And then the other 2 shows that night went really well. Somebody in one of those other 2 audiences was the second most travelled passenger within the cruise line. He sent a handwritten letter to the head office to say, we've just seen this guy, we know it's his first time, you need to book him up and we want to see him all the time. And then off the back of that, I was offered about 40 dates in one email for the next year. Yeah, it's nuts. It went, like in 2013, I think it was, I did those 2 random ones earlier in the year. And then I did 2, so the first one was in September, which was this one I'm just talking about. And then there was one with that cruise line they booked as like a second trial in October. And then February onwards after Panto, the whole year booked.
That's amazing.
Amazing, yeah, really lucky.
Well, they say that luck is being prepared for opportunity when it comes. And so it looks like you were like seriously prepared for those second 2 shows. I mean, it's difficult to know what's going to happen when you're doing it for the first time.
If I was that prepared, I'd have brought a spare laptop. But, you know, I do now.
But you don't expect that, do you?
I'm sat here right now, ready, waiting.
I carry all the stuff for my shows in my hand luggage. I know a lot of people do that, so that I can still do my show if my case goes missing. Yeah. Because it has happened a few times. But there's been quite a few times where I've gone to check in and they go, what's your hand luggage? And they get me to weigh it. It's like far overweight. Like seriously, like everything to do with my show. It's beaded dresses. Like they're ridiculous. And all the music and everything like that for the musicians. And I just have to plead with them going like, please, because honestly, if I check this and it doesn't arrive, I am royally in trouble. Yeah. Please let me take it on the plane. Thankfully they do. Like I haven't had to check it yet. Yeah.
Stop it. What?
I know.
Oh, you got really lucky. I've had to check it so many times.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, so my issue, I carry a backpack with 2 laptops, 2 iPads, 2 microphones. Like I say, I've got a spare of everything. So much tech. There's 3 cameras in that bag. There's so much stuff in there, all to run the show. And then in the actual suitcase, there's enough clothes to do 2 different show looks worth of clothes. And then there's enough clothes to look relatively smart on 2 or 3 other nights, 2 or 3 other outfits. I'm lucky because, like, to look smart, I can have a jacket, a black shirt, a white shirt, and a black T-shirt or something, and it's 3 totally different looks with the same jacket. I non-stop hear it all the time how much luckier we have it in that sense than you lovely ladies do.
I don't know, though. If you're wearing a jacket on stage, that's hot. At least I can wear a backless dress and, like, not have so much fabric.
Yeah, I also always wear the skinniest suit I physically can, so that's also not the most aerating of things. That's not fitting on at the moment with lockdown, that's for sure.
No, that feeling. Yep.
But so I also then have Dave, the dinosaur puppet, a smart pair of shoes, another prop that I use to turn an audience member into a puppet. So I could, if I absolutely had to, do a 45-minute show out of my hand luggage. But the issue is that suitcase, it only weighs about 11 or 12 kilos. So it's not that much over. Most airlines will allow that. There's some, like Emirates, Etihad, whatever, it has to be under 7, which no one has a suitcase under 7 kilos. That's a load of rubbish. But my backpack weighs 18 kilos. So they're always like, can we weigh that as well? But I always have to, like, I'm really clever. I go for the full, like, psychology route. So I'm like coming up to the counter with it on my back. It could go on a suitcase, but I have it on my back to kind of psychologically make them think, oh, it can't be that heavy then.
Yeah.
And then I take it off my shoulder, put it down with no effort. Oh, I tell you what, it's a lot of effort, but you've got to make it look like it's done. Be an actor. But then, so most of the time they just go, oh yeah, fine. And then as soon as, okay, thank you, have a great day, bye-bye. Pick it up, put it on my shoulder again, off a plod like nothing's happened. But sometimes they want to weigh it, and then they're like, 18 kilos? Like, the problem is, there's nothing in there that can safely be put in a hold of an aircraft.
No.
Because it's batteries galore, it's all these things, like tech that you literally is not safe. So the amount of arguments I've had to have where I've said, look, you're telling me I have to put this in the hold. I'm telling you, you legally cannot tell me to put this in the hold.
Oh, no.
The contents of this case, by international air, whatever the actual law is, I normally say it with a bit more conviction. I haven't done this in a while. That states I legally cannot put this in the hold. There is 2 laptops with over a 20,000 milliamp battery in there. There's this, and I roll off every single fact you could ever imagine that I know 100% is accurate, and they are completely wrong. And so, well, sir, I've got to put it in a hold. Right, get me the manager, and we'll see who's right. And they get the manager, they're like, well, it is overweight, but it is correct. None of that can safely go in the hold, so we're going to have to allow you to keep it. And I'm like, thank you, goodbye! Yeah. So,
oh my gosh,
I got pretty good at that.
Yes, well, that's impressive, and just very important though as well. Very important. Right, you've got to be able to do your show. Yeah, I've had times where it's been quite overweight and they have been a bit grumpy with me. And I have just had images of my head of me wearing my 2 ball gowns going through the airport, like one on top of the other.
Yeah. I've had to do that where I've once had to wear, with the suitcase, they were saying I had to check it in as well, which they can, but the problem is I then have no show. I have all the tech to run the show, but I don't have a show. So I'd rather not, but there is another, no, there's 2 jackets in there actually. So I once had to put 3 jackets on just so they could reweigh it. But I'm like, guys, look, you know, as soon as I get through there, these are going back in the suitcase.
Yeah.
Also, in the most politically correct way possible,
I know what you're going to say.
Not as much with lockdown, but have you looked at the queue? I don't think I'm the problem here. Can I say that in a more politically correct way? I'm not sure. Point is, I don't think my 1 kilogram over in a suitcase that is literally the weight of this mouse is going to cause a problem and cause you lots of extra money in fuel. No, you're not checking it in. Good day to you.
Good day to you.
This is bringing back all the memories.
All the stressful memories. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm getting red faced because I'm just laughing so much, but that's normal. I'm sure all of the images of your DVD of me laughing is like bright red face.
While we're talking, I'm just gonna find some snippets. There's got to be some somewhere.
Okay, and we're back. So I'm sorry, it was my fault. I had to pause the podcast because there was a window that was a bit open and it was making the door bang. And that's not what we want. We want good sound quality for the podcast. So
the difficulties of working from home.
Right? Thank you, COVID. Yeah, exactly.
Fancy studio. None of these issues. Damn you, door.
Exactly, but hopefully the sound quality will be much better now and we're all right. So yes, you were looking at probably embarrassing clips of me from your DVD laughing my head off.
I found two very good options. I will show you both. The first one is actually from the opening of the show, which is really big and exciting with lots of lights doing some really cool things. Just as one of the audience cameras pans across the audience in a really nice sweeping motion. You just see you, like, it'll be down in this corner, I think it is. Just looking like the happiest person in the world. It's really lovely. Right, I'm going to be really clever here, and I'm going to swap. So you'll still be able to hear me, but I've swapped now to a different input so that you can see this properly. Right, you ready?
I'm excited.
Very excited about this.
This is very technical.
Right, so this is the start of the show, like I said, right? Very cool. All of that,
cool.
yeah?
Yeah, it looks amazing. Oh, it's such a great night.
And just as I walk on stage, and there she is!
Hey!
And it's going to go back. You ready? And there she is again!
Oh, I didn't see me! Oh, I know it was there. I saw it the first time.
There, right? That's one of them. The other
I was
one,
happy. I was excited.
The other one is even better. This is like full-on close-up on you actually laughing. This laughing shot is from you about 3 or 4 minutes into the show. So this is before anything too insane has happened.
Honestly, it was a whole night laughing my head off. My tummy hurt. It actually hurt.
You know, a myriad of technical issues before the show, meaning the show started 25 minutes late and everyone was stood outside livid.
I wasn't.
I'm glad you were the only one. Right, but this one's even better. You ready?
I had a pet mouse called Eldis. All right, but my pet mouse Eldis died today.
Oh,
Ernie, that's so sad. Yeah, how did he die? Well, Kieran, he was caught in a trap.
ready?
No, stop!
Hang on.
Stop!
Here she is, any second now.
Stop!
Yeah!
I'm not doing cheap
I think
jokes
it
like
comes
that.
back to you in 1 other second as well.
On that throwaway. No, don't stamp on it. That's how the other one died. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought it came back to you, but there you go. There's bits of you.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oops, wrong button, Kieran.
Wait, there we go, you're back.
The video instead of swapping cameras. Ah.
Oh, it's nice to see that again. It's nice to relive it as well, because like my mum was actually in the country at that point, and could come to stuff, and so it was like a really nice night out. Oh gosh, it was amazing. Yeah, it was so brilliant. Is the DVD still available?
Yeah, it is. All on our website, kieranpowell.co.uk. Head over there and get whatever you like.
Below, 100%. Definitely put it in the description. That's definitely up.
Yeah, it's weird because it was genuinely the most stressful day of my entire life.
Oh, I believe you.
Mainly because as we had cameras coming in to do tests of things, so many technical issues happened, and mainly my main animatronic puppet that was the big finale broke. I don't know if you ever knew this.
I do remember you telling me a few bits after the show.
Yeah.
And it sounded horrendous. Like, I've had good chats with people about stressful tour dates, but when you're recording a DVD and you're spending that much money. Like,
including all the music that I had to get remade so that I owned all the recording as well. It was like £35,000 Yeah. So when the grand finale, so not only the grand finale of the show, but the end of the first half as well, we're both using this animatronic puppet. And in the first time we did a test with it with the camera so that they can rehearse, because there was, you know, well, there's meant to be 4 animatronic puppets, but one of them broke that at late morning. So I was like, fine, do you know what? It's really annoying, but I can survive without that one. Ooh. But then the main one that the whole routine is written around broke, and there was like, we have to fix it. Animatronic puppets normally take weeks to make. So we had to then, I ended up getting my puppet builder to come in. He was coming to see the DVD anyway, early. Not early, sorry. He was coming to see it anyway, but we had to get him to come early to try and fix it. But obviously, like, it was a bodged job, like, it sort of works. He was like tying things, does a temporary fix, hoping it would just last the one show.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's so stressful. So then because of all that, we never got to actually do any proper rehearsals with the cameras with the finale. So they were just guessing at the end where to point the cameras. Thankfully, we had 7 of them, so there was enough to get all the shots we needed. But
goodness me.
Yeah, and then my girlfriend and all my friends always wind me up about the fact that I was so stressed that so I should also point out, Amy had an operation to take out 4 wisdom teeth the day before this. So she was like numb and in agony and high on every piece of medication you could ever imagine, right? And so she came up to me, she gave me lunch, which I was like, no, I don't have time to eat. I'm never like this. I'm always a really nice, calm, collected person. I'm always considered when I'm stressed. I've never before or since been like this, but obviously they don't let me forget it. Like, no, I don't have time for lunch. She's like, okay. Do you want me to go and steam your suit and your shirts? Just so you don't have to worry about it before the show. No, I'll need that as I'll just need that as a bit of downtime before the show. I'll do it. Flash forward to when the show is meant to start. In fact, no, about 10 minutes after the show is meant to start, which is finally when we open the doors and I could leave the stage to go and get ready. I then go down to the dressing room and apparently, I don't remember any of this. Apparently the first thing I said was, why has nobody steamed my shirts? Mortified. I'm not that person. I'm absolutely mortified that I would have reacted like that. But I did. I was a horrible person and I'm really sorry, everybody.
But it's funny what stress does to you, though. It is. Like, stress really can get to you like that. But I understand what you mean about having something that you like to do before a show. So you go, right, I'm going to do a show. And you can just get yourself into that mindset, can't you? You can, like, feel prepared. Yeah. So I understand the idea of having a thing.
Yeah, and I think because I've always gotten to, because when you're on a cruise ship, you're looking after all your own stuff, right? And so because I got very used to that and I was always getting ready in my cabin, I would always my routine would be I'd have a shower. Obviously, I wasn't having a shower in this venue, but it's like after the shower, I would be steaming the shirt and just like, but while I'd steam the shirt, I'd warm up my voice. So that kind of unintentionally became the routine. I would warm up my voice whilst doing my shirts and then I put a bit of makeup on and then I'm ready to go, right? So I think in my head, I was like, no, I can't have someone else steam my shirt because I need to warm my voice up. But then there was so little time. I literally didn't do a speck of warming up before that DVD recording. Not a thing. And I normally warm up for at least half an hour because it's really vocally demanding to do my show because I'm singing without moving your lips through a gap. Like the number 1 rule of singing, open your mouth.
Yeah.
I don't. I sing through a gap that big and in 5 different voices, like flexing my vocal folds in ways that are not natural for anybody to do. So it's really like vocally demanding to do my show. So I have to warm up. So I don't do any damage. I didn't warm up at all. And then I went on stage and did a 2.5-hour show.
Which we all appreciated. Yeah.
I hope so, because it was the worst day of my life. But I have a really lovely end product to show for it. So I'm happy about it in the end. But that day, after that show, all I could think was, well, that's 35 grand down the toilet. What a waste of time. What a waste of money. What a waste of everybody's time. I was so unhappy after that show. I just thought the whole thing was a complete waste of time. Yeah.
Oh, no, but it wasn't. It was amazing and everybody loved it.
It actually, like, now I can look back at it and go, oh, wait, it went really well. I do, all things considered, think I could have done a much better job had that stress had not been a thing. I think I would have relaxed into it a bit more and kind of put more throwaway silliness in it, which I do a lot of the time normally, but it was still fine. It's a great product and I'm really happy about it. But
it's a brilliant product and you should be really happy about it.
There was nobody that convinced me otherwise on the day. You tried. You came, I distinctly remember you were one of the first people that came up to me after the show came and gave me a hug. Do you remember hugs? Yeah, they're a thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't it. Been 4 months, not allowed to. You came up and gave me a hug and said that was amazing, and I was like, yeah, well, it wasn't, but thanks for coming. I was so miserable.
It was seriously amazing, though. Honestly, it really was. But I understand what you mean about that feeling when you've gone through a stressful period, and then you get out the other side and you go, why did I do that to myself? Was that actually worth it? I get that every January after my Christmas tour, where I go, what am I doing to myself? But with that, it's slightly different. It's like I haven't just spent £35,000 or something. And with stuff like recording a DVD, you don't get a trial run. It's not like you get to go, here's a load of money to do a trial run, see if this works. Yeah,
exactly.
Like, you don't.
And equally, even if I wanted to kind of, a lot of the time people film a DVD or a special over 2 shows or 3 shows, but I didn't and still don't really have enough of an audience to fill that venue 3 times. I could fill it once, but I couldn't fill it 3 times. So it would have been a really weird mismatched thing if I'd have done it over a few different nights. So I knew it was one shot and that's that. So yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself.
Talk about pressure. That's completely crazy. But going back to something that you said about, like, obviously having to warm up your voice, it's something that I'm with you. I want a half an hour. Like, that is brilliant. If I can get half an hour for warming up my voice, fantastic. And I've just done a tutorial how to warm up your voice as well, talking about all the different muscles and that kind of thing. That'll go live on my channel soon. Quite excited.
I will go have a watch.
Okay, thank you. But I really want to talk to you about how you warm up and how you position your larynx and all that kind of thing. Like, I'm really interested in the nerdy bits because I really want to know, because there's lots of things that I do to create different sounds for different songs depending on what it is. Like, if I've got to sing quite a low bit in a song, during my breath I'll move my larynx up so that I've got more vocal tract to get it lower. Or if I've got to sing a really high note, sometimes I do move my larynx down so I've got more vocal tract to do the high note. And you know, and then there's you can move your vocal folds back and out of the way so that there's a bit more space. Like, I love feeling that and how it works within the larynx. I love that. But I'd love to know more about how it works for you, because you don't get to open your mouth.
It's there's a lot going on. I'm pretty sure I don't know anywhere near as much about how this works as you do, but it all depends on the voice I'm doing. It's different technique for each voice. Some voices naturally, because if I'm, like, for example, Angus's voice, like you mentioned, you create a bit more space between your vocal folds because he's got a very breathy kind of voice. You've got to open that up. And obviously, I'm moving my lips now, and this is not me trying to do ventriloquism before you're all going, hang on a minute. Hey, Deirdre, his lips are moving. Why are we watching this? So with Angus's voice, you know, there's a lot more space for it to resonate around. It's more of an open kind of sound. But with that, if I try and go really high as Angus, it's not as easy because there's no tension in the vocal folds. So I also have to think a lot about, if I want to put a song on my show, which character it suits, and also whether I can sing it as that character. Whereas someone like Dave's voice, because Dave's voice is kind of a lot more, it's pushing a lot more, it's pushing upwards in a sense, but it's keeping the larynx quite low. Because I can go really high as Dave, and it kind of, the larynx is sitting down here and I'm not even noticing it. But then equally with Dave, I can go quite low. So yeah, Dave's kind of a voice which I can do pretty much anything with. Same with Ernie. Ernie's voice is actually very similar to my own. That's the one thing I was battling a lot for a while, is when I got kind of a bit complacent and I'm doing the same thing all the time, is Ernie's voice would just sound like me. There'd be no differentiation, which obviously you need. You need to have differentiation between, otherwise what's the point? But yeah, I mean, I never, and it's not a choice, but some people do. I have never ever warmed up the puppets' voices, right? So because the puppets' voices are doing unnatural things, I kind of work it on the basis that if I warm up my own voice thoroughly to be able to do anything, because I can't escape it. When I do all the puppets' voices, especially on a cruise ship, we do 2 shows in a night. I'm like, after show, this is me. It will come back fine the next morning and it's all there. But after doing, 2 hours effectively, because my show is never 45 minutes like it's meant to be. Yeah. After doing 2 hours of non-stop using your voice in the way I do, it just is dead. So I guess I made a subconscious decision that I'm not going to tire my voice out before a show. So I just warm up so that it's in a good place to tire it out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I do lots of vocalizations. So when I'm having a shower, normally when I'm doing a show on a ship, and I always shower just after the sound check before a show, I do lots of vocalizations. I then have I have a playlist of songs which hype me up, but also stretch my voice. And so I sing a lot of things while I'm warming up. If I'm having a bad day, I love blowing into a straw, into a bottle of water.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Favorite thing. Resetting. Love it. Yeah, I just do a lot. I just do it also on a day-to-day basis. I try and look after my voice. This last month, I've not been so worried about it, but I'm usually pretty religious on Manuka honey.
Good
Manuka
stuff.
honey. Probably had it every day for about 5 years, which is another reason why I don't own a house, if you know that.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
Well, when I did Panto, so I did Panto in Llandudno last Christmas, just gone, and I didn't know if there was a Holland and Barrett up there, which is where I buy all my Manuka honey from normally. There is, but I didn't know that, so I thought I'd better go with enough to survive the whole run. Now, if you've ever shopped in Holland and Barrett, they do a penny sale where you get one and get the one for a penny, right? It's great. So it's effectively buy one, get one free. With the penny sale, I spent £380 on Manuka honey. Now, you've got to remember, with Panto, I'm doing 2 shows every day, or 2 shows 6 days a week. So you do 12 shows in a week for a 4-week run. And being the comedy character, I'm on stage pretty much the whole time. There was no point in the show this year where I could go to my dressing room while the show's on. So at the top of the show, I was in the wings. I came on stage about 6 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
So I'd always go down for the top of the show. I didn't have to, but I'd always go down for the top of the show because I like to try and get a vibe for the audience. Because I'm the first kind of bit of comedy and interactive bit with the audience that gets going. So I like to try and get an idea. And then, there was no other point apart from the interval where I had time to go to my dressing room in the whole show because I was on, off the whole time. So I was using my voice a lot. Out of the 2 hours and 15 minutes that the show was on stage, I was probably on stage for about an hour 50 of that.
Wow.
2 shows every day, 6 days in a row. So and it's not like Panto's just like, hi everybody, how you doing? It's lovely to be here. It's like, hiya kids, my name's Muddles, and it's like it's all like kind of screaming, really. It's not, and actually, I don't know if you find this, but I find talking to be a lot more tiring for my voice than singing a lot of the time, especially when you're really talking with purpose and you're really up here all the time. So the year before, I lost my voice completely. The only time in my life I've ever lost my voice on the last show day. So I was like, no, got 2 shows, I'm going on, and I made it happen. But by the second half of the second show on that last day, it was literally like this for the whole second half of the show.
Oh my
Nothing.
God.
And then I didn't speak for a week and a half after the show.
Why?
Because I couldn't. And then also I wanted to look after it a bit towards the end of it.
Goodness me.
But but that's because I was not looking after my voice while I was doing it, because I was actually just shouting, whereas I was actually should sing it, really. That's the way to do it. So instead of going, hiya kids, and shouting, you go, hiya kids, because then I'm actually placing my voice in a way where it doesn't hurt at all, but it has the same kind of energy.
Whee!
So, yeah, exactly. So it's like, obviously men don't really have a mixed voice, but it's like using my mixed voice to sound more energetic in the high register.
I can imagine they loved you in Panto. It's so...
I love Panto.
Yay!
If I could do one thing for the rest of my life, I would do Panto every single day for the rest of my life.
Without...
Cuddling my dog. That's also pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that's true. When Misty is into a cuddle, which is not very often, I try and make the most of that time. Because he's like, if you've got time to cuddle me, you have time to play. Where is the ball?
Right.
That's kind of his way of looking at life.
I'm going to make you jealous now. Because my dog, I guarantee I will get him and instantly I don't even have to cuddle him. I'm going to show you. I can keep talking to you because my mic's wireless.
That's brilliant.
I don't know where he's going to be.
Oh my gosh.
He's not upstairs.
Oh, I so want to see the doggy.
You can.
What kind of dog? What kind of dog is he?
Hello, mister. Hi. Oh, sorry, you were asleep, weren't you?
Oh, bless him.
He was asleep on the sofa, but he's up for it.
Oh, that's good.
All right, here he is.
What kind of dog?
Come say hello, buddy.
So cute.
Me with my painted trousers, right?
Oh my gosh,
so
he's
just
adorable.
brought him upstairs. Now I guarantee. How do you want to go like this?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, some kisses, thank you.
That's the cutest thing.
Bye.
Oh, he's adorable.
Oh, and we got a big yawn.
Oh, the yawn is so
I
cute.
did just wake him up. Sorry.
Bless him. What kind of
Sorry,
dog is
buddy. 3, nearly.
he? No, what kind of
You're
dog?
still little, aren't you, mate?
What
still
kind
little.
of dog, Kieran?
There we go. Oh, hello. Oh, what kind of dog? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying the dog. He's a Cavapoo. Oh, he's really tired. He's a Cavapoo. So he's a cross between a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel and a Poodle.
Oh, he must be pretty clever then, being part poodle.
He's this dog. Oh, next level intelligence.
Really?
He has many things. Do you want to sit down? Lie there. Go on then. So he.
Oh, I love him already.
He knows who's walking him because we all do different routes. So I walk him opposite. Oh, you want to cuddle? Okay. I walk him. That's what I mean. He will cuddle me. He just
Aww.
yeah. Amy walks in, my girlfriend. Occasionally, if we go away, he stays with some friends of ours. They walk him in a totally different area. Until coronavirus, we had a dog walker. All of us do different routes. He goes, all right, Dad's walking me today. He knows where we're going. Different route for Dad. Mum's walking me. Different route for Mum. He knows all of that.
That's clever.
He does lots of tricks. He's not going to do any of them right now because he wants to be asleep. But yeah, he's a very, very clever animal, this. He's also very human-like. Everyone always, when they meet him, they think he's like the most human dog they've ever met. He also sits like a human quite a lot, and he just looks into your eyes and like has a conversation with you. Oh, you want belly rubs? Okay. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Just then he went, Dad, I want belly rubs now, because he just lifted a leg to go, what you want, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, just hold him like that the whole rest of the podcast because he's so cute, so adorable. But while you're holding your doggy...
See, there you go. He's like, look, I stop, and then he's going to go, excuse me. Oh, he's got a yawn.
Got a yawn.
Do
I can see the paw moving. Yeah, there you go.
This is the thumbnail right here.
It is. Yeah. Certainly is. But while you're cuddling your doggy, whose name is?
Stitch. Sorry,
Stitch.
I thought
Okay.
I told.
Cute.
Yeah. I don't know if you can tell, but we're kind of Disney fans in this house.
Yeah. Good. All good people are.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell us about your Keep Laughing show because you've got that on the screen behind you. So I'd love to talk about that.
What's that?
I know.
Yeah. Stitch, you want to tell them about it? All right, I will. So, it's a thing. I actually did it every single night of the week for 3 months from the start of lockdown.
Whoa.
Pretty intense. I was doing a completely different half-an-hour show every single night of the week for, Monday to Friday, every single night for 3 months. And then that, since then, has turned into Tuesdays and Thursdays I now do. Because I've got lots of other projects on. I'm quite busy, and it's also very time-consuming to churn out an entirely new show every single day of the week.
Yes,
So, do you want to just lie there, mister? Yeah? You're He's just lying on his back on my lap, just like, yeah, I'm just chilling. So, it's very silly. It's not me really being a ventriloquist. It's me just being a bit of an idiot for half an hour, really. I have lots of silly segments. I do lots with the audiences. Everything's all about the live chat and chatting to people the whole time. So it's just literally a half an hour of silliness. I started it out with the intention of it being kind of the thing that people could do at the end of the day to, try and forget about the worries of going on in the world at the moment. Like, we banned the word coronavirus. You're not allowed to use the word on the show. Mm-hmm. So it's so much so that if I had ever said it, which I have a couple of times by accident, I have a theme tune about dropping the C-bomb, which is very fun. It's on many episodes if you want to go and find it. But it's just a really silly bit of interactive fun with everybody that fancies watching. And on Thursdays, we do a quiz show as well. So that's why I kept doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I do one normal show in a week and one quiz show where I get 3 contestants on who fight it out against each other to win nothing. Just for fun. That's all it is. Everything's for fun. So, yeah, it's just a bit of silliness. And it for me, it's kind of been my excuse to keep performing a little bit. And I think if I didn't do it, I would have missed performing a lot more than I have.
That makes sense.
I miss being on stage in front of a live audience, of course, but I'm not like hurting. Like a lot of entertainers and performers are really, really struggling now. They're like, no, I need to get back in front of an audience. Whereas I'm just like, well, I mean, I'm all right because I've been effectively doing that just in a different way. Like I look at this camera instead of looking out at however many people. Although I do have multiple cameras. There's production value here. It's got 3 cameras and many other fancy things that go on. But, yeah.
And where can we see this? Because I've seen it on Facebook a few times. Is that the best place to...
Streamed live on my Facebook page. If you search for the name, it's me with a puppet. It's also streamed live on my YouTube channel, Kieran Ventriloquist, if you want to watch it on either of those. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m.
Woo! I'm 100% putting all those links below in the description, so they will totally be there. But why don't you tell us, along with Keep Laughing, what you're up to now that you're not traveling the world on ships and what you've got coming up?
I'm doing lots of, I'm not actually doing much as a ventriloquist at the moment. I'm doing lots of producing things. So I'm doing lots of work with a quiz company at the moment, doing some exciting things with them. Not on camera, I'm doing all the backstage technical stuff that I'm doing here. But then I'm also currently in the middle of producing a one-night socially distanced musical theatre concert. Now, at the time of recording this, still don't 100% know if it's going ahead. Because obviously with everything, I don't know if you know anything about planning events, but you always need a license to put on an event. That's just how that works. At the moment, it's a bit harder to obtain a license because of coronavirus.
Because it's the C-bomb.
Yes, the C-bomb. So we're still not, I mean, we can't do anything more. The license has been submitted. They're just sending it around all the people. But hopefully by the time this comes out, we may have announced the show and everything. The lineup is looking amazing.
It is looking amazing.
It's nuts, some of the people we have in the lineup. Like some of the biggest names from the West End. It's huge. It's called West End Unlocked because, you know, we were on lockdown and now we're not. Do you get it?
I get it.
I don't know if people will get it. I don't really care, just as long as they buy tickets. But it's going to be a really, really awesome show. I'm hosting it with my friend Lauren, who is also the co-producer with me. And we're putting on this lovely night in St Albans where people can come. It's not very expensive. Sit in your pods with your family in our nice socially distanced seating plan. Keep your distance from all other people and enjoy a fun night in musical theatre in the open air with some insanely talented people. It's going to be really, really cool. Very
sold.
If it all happens.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm ready to hit the go button on everything. Everything's so ready. I just need the council to say yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, if it is going ahead, we'll put the links in the description and I'll shout about it on all of my socials as soon as we know. And hopefully I'll be able to be there in the audience.
Yes.
If it goes ahead.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, when it goes ahead. Come on, let's be optimistic about this. When it goes ahead. Yeah.
That's the level of positivity we need in the world right now.
Oh, exactly. So yes, when it goes ahead, I'll be there in the audience and I want to put it on all of my socials so everybody knows because
love it.
It's just nothing like being in a live audience, is there? I mean, it's great when you get to watch stuff from your sofa, but the atmosphere you get actually being there. Do you remember
the last thing you saw as an audience member?
Yes.
When was it and what was it?
Back last year. It was in London and it was a LP concert because she is amazing.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one.
See, that's the thing. I'm like, I could look at my calendar, but it's not because we're very lucky when you work on cruise ships, you get to see live shows all the time, right? But I don't remember what it was. That's how long ago it was. I don't remember what the last
no. Oh, well, my last cruise ship was February though, so that wasn't too long ago. Yeah, that was an eventful. That's a story in itself. Because I was supposed to be joining in Asia. I was supposed to be joining in Asia when it was all kicking off, and I was going, are they still sending me to China right now? Where am I going? Oh, when like Wuhan was on lockdown already. And so like my flights changed at least 5 times, and they ended up flying me to Australia. But the day before I was supposed to leave the ship, I didn't have a clue where I was going because I was supposed to be joining a ship in either Hong Kong or Singapore, going, well, surely it's not going there anymore. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
I had a similar situation. I mean, I wasn't in that part of the world. I was in South America, but yeah, the day that I left was the last day that Chile wasn't on lockdown. So the day I left was the last day that ship went into a port for 40 days.
No. Gosh.
I would have been stuck on that ship for 40 days.
See, that sounds like a lot, but I know that in comparison, like one of my friends was on a ship for over 100 days before she was allowed to go
absolutely,
home. Like, crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, some people still haven't got off a ship that they've been on since January.
Yeah, yeah, and they haven't docked for months.
Yeah.
I'd be going a bit loopy, I think.
It's nuts. And then I had the same thing. I got to the airport to fly home and they were like, sorry, sir, your flight's cancelled. Right. Okay. Is there an alternative? No, the route's cancelled. Because it was flying through Spain, who had then locked down.
Oh, sugar. How did you get back?
So it was one of those things where we had to sort it immediately, and like calling the cruise line, they're like, we might have an option for you, but we'll put you in a hotel. Can you hang in till tomorrow? And I'm like, no, if it's tomorrow, I'm not getting home. So I booked my own flight home and ended up going via Brazil, which had no cases at that point. So we're still operating just fine.
Good on.
So it was, but I mean, that was second week of March or something, I think. Let me have a look. That was...
Good idea booking your own flight, but that couldn't have been cheap coming from all that way.
No, it wasn't. No. Yeah, so that was the 11th of March. I flew home.
Oh my gosh!
Which is
and
like
then lockdown on 23rd, wasn't it? Yeah.
So it was cutting it fine. Scary stuff. But my luggage got lost on that one as well. So I ended up a really makeshift version of shows and buying a ton of stuff in Miami on a layover on the way there after I knew it wasn't going to make the ship.
Oh,
so that I could do something. Really.
Did you get it back again before flying home then, or what?
No, I got them to send it home. So it was stuck in France.
No way.
There was no logistical way it could have got to the ship at any of the ports in time. So I just said, send it home. But I would rather see it again at some point in the future than never see it again.
Yeah,
the last time I got lost in South America, it was in Peru. I was meant to embark a ship in Lima, or in Callao, which is the port for Lima. And my luggage didn't arrive from Amsterdam, and they said, it's fine. If you're in Pisco in Peru in 4 days, what we'll do, when it arrives into Lima, we'll put it on a public bus, and then sorry, what? Yeah, and they said that all that I need to do when we're in Pisco in Peru, I need to get off the ship and go to the bus stop where the bus is going to come into, and when the bus arrives, I'll just take the case off. No, that's not going to happen. There is not a that is happening. No, thank you.
So what happened? Did you send that one home as well then?
No, I had to pay myself for a taxi to drive 5 hours each way with my luggage.
Oh no!
$380 that taxi cost me.
I was actually thinking you were going to say more than that, but that is still a lot.
No, sorry. No, that's what it cost me with the bit that KLM wouldn't reimburse. And they reimbursed $500. Yes, it was just under $900. That's what it was.
Why wouldn't they reimburse all of it? What?
Because they gave me an option to get the suitcase to me.
Oh, for goodness sake. They're putting it on a public bus. Anybody else could have taken it.
Exactly. My point to them was two things. On that particular flight, KLM happened to offer me a really like 25 quid upgrade to business. So obviously for a 14-hour flight, I took it, right? So my first point was, I am a business class customer. Not really, but I was because I flew business class. My second point was, there's about £50,000 worth of stuff in that suitcase. I'm not taking that risk. Because that's the case with the animatronic puppet in, all the other custom-made things, and so not taking that risk. So KLM were like, well, we gave you the option. The maximum they can reimburse was €600 or something. So yeah.
Your insurance must be expensive.
Yeah. I haven't got any at the moment because I'm not flying, so I'm not paying that. It's like 400 quid a year. I'm not paying that. Thank you.
Oh yeah, saved it. That's quite nice.
That's just for equipment. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you. Goodness me. I really feel like I can't wait to get back on cruise ships, and I can't wait to get back out there. But I know you've said that you're really excited about all the stuff that coronavirus has actually given you opportunities to do. And that's so great that you're feeling excited about these other opportunities. It's really weird
that, like, I've felt, as much as I love performing on ships and I don't regret a second of the last 6 years of doing it, I've got more fulfillment from everything I've done since lockdown than I have done for quite a while in performing on cruise ships.
Wow.
And so that feels wrong. Like, everyone's like, this is the worst time of our entire life. Most people think that this is the low point of their entire life. Think about that for a second, that this is as bad as everyone in the world's life is ever going to be. Or at least some people think. I'm like, loving it. This is great. I've been really productive. I've got loads of new projects going on. I've been really busy. Sure, I'm just about scraping through financially. I don't have loads of money to show for it, but I'm fine. I've not missed any payments and anything. We're still doing okay, right? So, yeah, I'm all right. I'm not in a rush to go back because, like I said to you before, and you know this anyway, I was planning on working on cruise ships for a year. Kind of, for me, I was seeing it as practicing doing my show in a big theatre. And then 6 years later, I was still there doing not the same show, but quite a similar show to what I started out doing, which is what I always said I was never going to do. I always said two things about working on cruise ships. I will not do the same show all the time. It wasn't the same, but it was rather similar. I also said I will never, ever, ever buy any sequin jacket or anything that's cruise shippy like that. I own 8 sequin jackets.
I love sequin jackets.
So do I. In fact, do you know what? I've got my newest one sat right here. Actually, sorry, the dog's falling off me. Just I'm trying to reach for it.
Oh, bless him.
Come on, hop down, buddy. Hop down.
Such a good doggy.
This is not. It's not sequins, but it's glittery.
Oh, it is glittery.
Oh, it looks
That's
rubbish
jazzy.
in
I
this.
like it.
It's really glittery.
No, I can see the glitteriness.
Let's do that. Yeah, you can see the glittery a bit more now.
See, that is nice. I like that.
I think it's lovely.
Well, it's better than the clown outfit you had when you were 6.
That's accurate. But yeah, I've got lots of secret stuff now. So I've broken both my rules. So I think it's time, now that coronavirus has given me an excuse to do something. Do you want to go? Sorry, mate. Go on then.
Bye, doggy.
Good boy.
Bye, Stitch. Oh, cute.
The door doesn't close. Okay, let's just let it open a bit.
That's as bad as my door. It's why we had to stop the podcast. It was constantly going like this.
What is it with us indoors today? It's all cursed.
Oh dear. Well, I know that Stitch has disappeared, and as soon as your door is open, I feel like it might be a sign to.
That's it.
To go and put the kettle on and have another cup of tea. But thank you so much, Kieran Powell, for coming. What? I
don't drink tea.
No.
Sorry. Or coffee. And nothing caffeinated.
Really?
Yeah. I've somehow stayed awake doing 150 flights a year for 6 years without drinking anything caffeinated.
Right, that's a world record in itself there.
8 hours a night. That's it. 8 hours a night, no matter what time zone you're in, that's all you need. Then you can look like this vision of beauty with his painted trousers. And his pink and grey socks, apparently.
Well, on that very lovely note and insightful comment, I shall say thank you so much, Kieran, for joining me on the Mary-Jess Meets podcast. It's been so great to catch up with you, to hear your stories, and I wish you all the best. And hopefully I will see you very soon for the musicals show, which I'm very excited about.
3rd of September.
Amazing. Looking forward to it already.
4 weeks.
It'll be amazing. Okay, let's just, come on, please. Please, coronavirus, let it happen. But we will keep people updated about that. Well, thank you so much again for joining me, Kieran, and I'll catch up with you again really soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye now. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.